I am joined now by Dr. Christopher Unger. He is a physician designated by the FAA to perform physical exams on pilots to determine if they're fit to fly. And I should just say exams because I have to imagine that there are standards both in the U.S. and around the world for pilots, but they differ.
That's true. As I mentioned earlier, the standards that exist around the world may not be quite as rigorous as the standards that are used here in the USA. And I feel that those governments are looking to the U.S. to essentially improve and upgrade their standards. They're very actively outreaching to us.
So, for instance, what is, in terms of mental health, because people can be perfectly well and then get depressed for any number of reasons. Sure. And, you know, that would be missed if the exam was a year ago. So how often and what constitutes passing an exam for pilot flight here and abroad and what you know about it?
Well, the exam is very comprehensive, and a really good exam should be based on continuity. It's more difficult for us to screen somebody that we've never met before. We attempt to spend an extended period of time, especially with our new pilots. And we're able to ask questions in such a way as to avoid evasion, essentially. And a lot of times pilots don't think that, for example, taking over-the-counter medicines count because they're not prescription medications. The point that you have made is that combinations of medicines, circumstances, and events can converge and give rise to relatively acute psychological factors, which would make someone essentially not at their normal level of judgment. And those things do have to be screened for.
And so what we're talking about this is that we do know from reporting from Barbara Starr is that they are focused on what happened in that cockpit.
Yes.
There was talk of, you know, is it a suicide pilot? And again, as Atika just reported, they're looking at everybody who got on that plane because there are other scenarios that would not, you know, have anything to do with the pilots, or at least the pilots doing something voluntarily. But in your line of work, as you work with pilots, it would seem to me, and we've heard from a couple of neighbors saying, oh, he's a really nice guy, he's well respected,
Sure.
Lives in a great place, you know, all of those sorts of things again. So how does one even detect if you have a pilot that's in trouble? And as we know, there have been some pilots here in the U.S. that didn't end apparently as badly as this has, but that have had some Sure. mental problems and been taken off planes.
Candy, let me give you two examples. One example is medicines we use to lower cholesterol. These may be among the most prescribed medicines in the world. These medicines give rise to memory deficits, they give rise to transient global amnesia, and we're sort of naive to that, especially when they might be mixed with something else. We also have conditions such as what is called spatial disorientation. Spatial disorientation may not be detectable while we're examining the pilot on the ground, but it can happen in the air. And essentially, in those situations, the plane may be losing altitude, and in a turn, while the pilot thinks they're in straight and level flight, these things can converge and they can cause havoc in a situation like this. Now, we also had a situation, I believe, a year or two ago, where both the pilot and the flight engineer fell asleep. I also have some concerns about pilots everywhere overusing flight management systems. In my generation, we called it autopilot.
Right.
Okay,
right.
Flight management systems now are something that makes life very nice for the pilots, but I'm not entirely sure they can be trusted. And one of the reasons why they can't be trusted is if there is an attack, such as an electromagnetic pulse, that thing is blown and it's shot.
Right.
And then you have to recover the airplane.
Right.
One of our incidents was in an aircraft that went down over the Atlantic a number of years ago, was that the pilots came back in the system when that system failed, and they were expected to fly the plane manually, but they didn't know how to fly it really well.
Right.
So over-reliance on technology is a concern.
Yeah, I think the one thing we do know about this pilot is he was quite trained on the 777. So I think they're looking at other things as to whether he had planned this for whatever reason. But I want to thank you for your time today, for beginning to look into this subject matter for us. We appreciate it. Dr. Christopher Unger, thank you so
Enjoyed it very
much.
much.
Thank you.